talk to both of you today. I know you've
Word.
got something cooking. We're going to get into it, specifically something that looks like this. But before we get into Curate, I mean, Allagash here in Maine is such a staple. We love Allagash, everything about it. Crowns and Hops, I want to learn more about you guys first. What is your story?
For sure. I'll just give you the nickel tour. And my partner right now, Benny Ashburn, co-founder of Crowns and Hops, is jumping on. It all started really about, honestly, for me, about 15 years ago, when I stumbled across a beer called Curio that you might have heard of, that was introduced to me by a really good friend of mine at a bar called Father's Office. That led to just an investigating of really what craft beer was, because no one had ever given it to me at that point in time. I met Benny around this investigation of really discovering delicious craft beer for us both to identify that we weren't seeing a lot of people of color in craft beer at all, like at all, like from the consumer standpoint, from the brewery ownership standpoint. And Benny and I just sought out on a mission to just try and instigate some change in that, because after all, craft beer is such an incredible product, and even more so, such a phenomenal community that we just thought it was a crime for there not to be the dopest community on the planet involved in the craftiest community on the planet. So that's where Crowns and Hops was born. Benny and I did a series of events up until that point, realizing a few years ago that creating Crowns and Hops Brewing Company was the way to showcasing not only diversity and inclusion, but showcasing racial equity, which is what Curate is about.
That's it. It's full circle moment right there. That's awesome.
Full
So
circle.
y'all are on the West Coast. You're in California, but working with Allagash over here. How did you guys come together and what made you want to partner up?
I'm honestly surprised our paths didn't cross sooner than they did. But I've got a ton of roots in LA. My mom grew up in LA. I spend a ton of time there. I love it. We sell a lot of Allagash beer out there. And I mean, I think we basically formally met first during COVID on a
Yep.
podcast. And kind of as the podcast, probably when it was over, I was like, dude, we got to get a beer. I've heard a lot about your brewery. And, I'm out in LA all the time. Let's catch up over a beer. And, we caught up over a beer and kind of
Yo,
one
wait,
thing.
wait, hold on, Haley. We had to pause there for a moment. Can you think about that for us? Let's really break that down. Like, I'm on a panel with the dude who's great. This is Rob Todd from Allagash
Yes,
talking about,
man.
hey, let's hang out and have a beer and talk. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, what? I'm like, Benny, can you believe this? I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
I mean, but yeah,
Yeah.
it really it happened during the pandemic when I think we first connected.
It did, yeah. And then, I mean, right when the pandemic was over, actually, LA, I think, was the first place I headed because I was missing it so much. So I headed out there, and yeah, and I mean, I think I landed, drove straight over to the brewery, and we had a couple beers, and one thing led to another with the collaboration. We had participated in this awesome fest in Pittsburgh called Barrel and Flow, and it's a festival that celebrates Black-owned breweries. And the way Allagash was involved with that was all the breweries that do collaborations with one of the Black-owned breweries, the collaboration beer was featured at the fest. And the first year we did it with a brewery called Sankofa down in DC. Kofi is the guy's,
Kofi.
yeah, one of the two owners. He's the owner that I know the best. And, I was thinking, geez, this would be a great opportunity to partner up with Crowns and Hops and, bring LA beer and Portland beer together at this Pittsburgh festival. So,
Literally.
that's how Curate was born.
How
Tio
was
came up with the name. I'm not good with names, but I think this name is phenomenal. It nails it in so many ways.
It does. So let's talk about the collaboration, shall we? I got myself a can. I'm gonna crack this bad boy open right now. And
I'm
this
drinking
thing,
one.
I'm a little bit spoiled because I get to try this before some other people do. I know it's gonna hit shelves start of Black History Month in February. Before we get into all the good things Curate is gonna do for the world, what does it taste like? Can you talk us through it? I'm gonna actually taste it for those who can't yet.
I think I'll kick off the kind of the inception about it, the inception of the beer rather, and then I think Rob can really hit the nail on the head with it being a beer that was produced at their facility. But ultimately, the beer was brewed in honor and to benefit our foundation, the Trill Initiative, or the Trill Initiative, excuse me. And we decided to combine two of our existing flagship beers in Trill Pils, our Crowns and Hops Brewing Company Pilsner, and blend it down with the first beer that I ever had from Allagash, Curio. And to that point, we created the name Curate, which is indicative of this venture or this union. And I think Rob can do a phenomenal job of really talking about the notes.
I'll give it a shot, but yeah, when Tio kind of went over how he came up with the idea, and I wasn't sure it would work. I don't know, Tio, maybe you all weren't sure it would work, but Tio sent some Trill Pils out our way, and Jason and I just started to mess around with some blends, and we're like, whoa, like this really is working. This could work. And Tio and Beny came out, I don't know, a month or two later, and we went down to the barrel room and we worked with different blends. We tried like 10% Curio, 15%, 20%, and kind of a bunch of versions in between, and we got the beer to a point where we really felt like both beers were expressing themselves. And I think we nailed it. And, it's funny, a lot of the crew here at the brewery was kind of skeptical, like, how's the Curio going to work with the Pils? I mean, these beers are like so much different. Curio is like big barrel-aged coconut and vanilla character, over 10% alcohol, and the Pils, much more, delicate, sessionable beer with a wonderful hop character. But everyone at the brewery, once we canned it, started trying it, and they were like, man, like, we all nailed it with this. You could really taste each of the two different beers. I mean, the blend works perfectly together, but you literally can taste each of the beers. Like, you can taste the crispy Pils character and like the wonderful hop aroma from the Pils, and then you get these nice vanilla, like oaky characters from the Curio. And
I love the description that's on the can. The can description is a crisp and curiously tasty blend of Pilsner and bourbon barrel aged triple. Like, I mean, literally, that's exactly what it is. I think sometimes a triple can be a little bit too large of a beer for people. And sometimes people want a little bit more, tooth to a beer, or a little bit more body to a beer, rather than just going with a lager or a Pilsner, but maybe they don't want an IPA that day. So I think, again, I think we created something that not only is experimental, that really speaks to the true nature of being in craft beer. I think sometimes, you need a reminder from the new kids on the block at Crowns and Hops, and some of the OGs that have always been about giving people something incredibly interesting to the palate in Allagash, to bring something to the table like this blend. That's not necessarily traditional, but man, it hits the mark on flavor profile, and just something that you want to continue to drink and that you can enjoy more than one pint of. But it's funny, and I wanted Beny to introduce my partner, Beny, because she kind of represents in our company almost like the newness of the new beer consumer, and I think we also were thinking of the Bennies of the world who have never had like this beer and would maybe want something that just kind of really spoke to something that she would want to enjoy.
Yes. Well, then my next question is for Beny. I don't know if you were prepared for a question, girl, but it's coming at you. Obviously, the beer's good. I tried it. Everyone's going to love it. It does express two different flavors, which is so cool. But what's even better about the beer is the proceeds are going to go to Trill Initiative that you kind of touched on, Tio, but I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes, so the proceeds from this beer go to our Trill Fund. We started the fund in 2020. We awarded $100,000 that we distributed to 5 Black-owned craft beer brands in 2020 to help them in the business of beer, Montclair Brewing, Patuxent Brewing, and I think the great thing about that opportunity, for example, Montclair Brewing was able to buy a canning line. So now they're selling in Whole Foods. Some of the money went to marketing and creative and business development, all of the things that you need to create a sustainable business. So the fund for us has two components. It's capital, and then it's also educational as well. We're also working with Beer Amplified, a beer marketing conference where we're giving away scholarships for people to be able to attend the conference and learn how to create a beer business, how to run a business from creative design to legal, to beer operations. There's so many components involved with being successful. And we know capital raise is only step one. But it's, I think what's so great about this beer is it blends two really beautiful brands together and is a case study to show you what real true collaboration can look like and feel like, and actually have goals and results that we can pay forward to other brands and just show people that how do you participate and drive racial equity.
Oh, I love that. Is there a place where people can go to find more information or donate in addition to buying this beer?
Yes, you can go to 8trillion.org to learn more about our 8 Trill initiative. You can go on Allagash's site as well to find out specifically where you can purchase, curate. And I think we ask of everyone to just talk about this initiative, talk about curate, talk about the mission. Why is this important? This is so much bigger than just buying the products and drinking beer. This is intentional. This has purpose. And this isn't something that we can do by ourselves. We need everyone's help to participate, to move it forward.
Absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. I love a beer with a good cause, especially. So cool that you guys have teamed up to create this. So February is where people can actually buy it. Rob, do you know locally in Maine where people can go to buy this?
Well, I know you can buy it here at the brewery. And actually the can I'm drinking right now, I went right down to our tasting room and
Nice.
grabbed a can off the shelf. So come visit us in Portland at the brewery. You can get it here. I'm not exactly sure where else it's going to be available. I should know the answer to that, but definitely right here at the brewery. And I'm sure there's no, or I can't imagine there's many listeners right now from California, New York, and Georgia, but those are some other markets where this beer is going to be available.
Yeah, look, we're sure that those amazing friends and family in Portland, Maine, have friends and family in LA and in California. So definitely the beer is going to be available throughout California. I believe in Georgia, Atlanta, New York. There's going to be a ton of opportunities, I think, for people to not only share this beer verbally in terms of where it's at, share the mission about racial equity not being a win-lose type scenario, but ultimately a catalyst for a tide that lifts all ships, you know, and I think that's the whole point of the 8 Trillion Allies program that Allagash is a part of. Is it's spearheading something that will not just be a one-time collaboration, but rather something ongoing with the mission. We had to shift the narrative about what it meant to be the stat, which was Black people are less than 1% Black ownership in craft beer, to a goal of we want to focus on accomplishing 13% equity in craft beer ownership in our country. And again, that's a tide that lifts all ships. The more people that understand and identify Crowns and Hops Brewing Company, the more people that are going to seek out an Allagash. And that's an industry goal. That's an industry win.
I also want to say, while we're here, how grateful we are to Rob and their entire team. While we are part of this partnership, we have been learning and growing every step of the way with the release of this beer, working with their marketing department, seeing how they create assets, how do they interact with their retailers, how do they strategize for beer releases. These are all things we know how to do, but we're such a small team. Seeing the experts in Allagash really are helping us create better systems and better processes to be a better beer brand, period. So Rob, thank you. We are so grateful. Your team has literally rolled out the red carpet in every aspect of business development to help us be better and to make sure this is successful.
Well, it's been our pleasure. I mean, you guys have been amazing to work with. We've gotten a ton out of it. And, one of the really cool things about this beer is how much we have in common. Because at first blush, like, how much can these breweries have in common? I mean, we're a white-owned brewery that's been around 27 years in Portland, Maine. You all are a black-owned brewery, Los Angeles, the complete other side of the country, just a few years old. But when you think about it, we've got a ton in common. When you look at the core or the purpose, our kind of mission statement at Allagash: brew with integrity and build community. I mean, to build community, it's a huge reason why we exist. It's a huge reason why all 150 employees come to work every day at Allagash Brewing, and it's why you all exist. You all are a mission-driven company, and we are too. So, when it really comes down to purpose, we've got a ton in common.
We literally have built community in our purpose statement as well, to preserve culture, to expand palates, and to build community. So when we saw that, like, not even realizing that was a shared fundamental of both of our brands, it just started to make so much more sense. But again, this beer is delicious. Like, it's so funny. I had to fight over the last can. Like, I don't even have one in my fridge to enjoy on this podcast right
I feel
now
bad. You should have sent me all more.
because they grabbed it. So I have to, like, go down to the distributor and go buy some myself.
And this has also been fun. Like, this is like, beer is also supposed to be a good time, right? And we have been having an amazing time putting this together and really launching it for 2023, relaunching it for 2023.
That is awesome. And I'm so happy to hear that this is just the beginning of collaborations between you guys. And I can't wait to see what else y'all do. But in the meantime, everybody listening, watching, make sure February 1st, go get one of these bad boys at Allagash or wherever your favorite beer is sold. I'm just going to put that out into the universe and hope that they do pick it up wherever your favorite beer is sold. Anything else, you guys, before we part?
Buy Curate. Go get Curate.
Okay.
Curate an experience.
I love that.
You can follow us at crownsandhops.com. That's CROWNSANDHOPS. We love content. We love making things that I think the community hasn't really seen in craft beer through our brand. There's going to be a few moments to where we're going to reconnect with Rob when he comes out here to California with the Curate experience. We're excited for people to follow along, to see what we're doing with the 8trillion.org 8Trill initiative, and excited to just bring people along for the ride.
Love it. Well, buckle up. I'm here for the ride, you guys. Cheers to you all for this. I can't wait to finish mine. I'm sorry to tease you, Tail. Until we meet again, you guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks, Haley.
Take care.
See you, Beny.
Bye.